In our previous top 10 warriors and warrior supports from classic Yu-Gi-Oh list, we talked about some of the best cards from 2004 and earlier. However, there are still several years between then and the release of the first synchro monsters in 2008 starter deck Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds. For this list, we'll be focusing mostly on warriors and warrior support from 2005 to 2008. And starting our list off at number 10, we have DD Assailant, a level 4 Earth warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1600 defense. He was first released as a promotional card alongside the 2004's Yu-Gi-Oh! Destiny Board Traveler for the Game Boy Advance, and took until 2007 for it to be reprinted in a mass market pack, Dark Revelation Volume 4. DD Assailant's effect is that when he's destroyed by battle, after damage calculation, he banishes both the monster that destroyed him as well as himself. Banishing a monster instead of destroying it is often better in classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Due to there being less ways to revive or reuse cards in the banishment zone than there are for the graveyard. So unless a deck is utilizing Dimension Fusion or Return from a Different Dimension, any card banished is stuck there. Assailant's effect is similar to another monster's effect, DD Warrior Lady, who instead banishes after any battle regardless of destruction. While Warrior Lady's effect is better, Assailant makes up for this by having 200 more attack, and more importantly, wasn't limited as long as Warrior Lady was. While she was limited from April 2005 to September 2009, pretty much half of the classic Yu-Gi-Oh era, Assailant was limited from 2006 to March of 2007, before being dropped down to semi-limited list and then later made it unlimited in September of 2007, allowing more copies of him to be played for a longer period of time. In competitive play, DD Assailant saw heavy use from 2005 to 2007, where it was often played alongside Warrior Lady, giving an additional way to banish a troublesome monster. Assailant's use dropped off after 2007, with its last top spot appearing in the side deck of a 2014 artifact deck. DD Assailant is great, but outdone by DD Warrior Lady, who was the number 2 spot of our previous list. However, Assailant did see widespread use, unlike the next card in our list, which only saw use in a deck based completely around itself. And in the number 9 spot on the list, we have Armed Samurai Benkei, who looks about as encumbered as the average RPG protagonist. Benkei is a level 4 Dark Warrior with 500 attack and 800 defense, and was first released in 2005's Flaming Eternity. Benkei has the continuous effect that for each equip card attached to him, he gains 1 additional attack during the battle phase. This means he can gain up to 5 attacks from your own spells, and possibly more in team-based formats. Benkei's low attack is to make up for the additional strength and attacks granted from equip cards, which makes sense once you see how strong some of these equipped spells are. United We Stand and Mage Power, both of which were limited at the time, are equipped spells that scale based off of number of cards on the field, with United We Stand gaining its wielder 800 attack and defense for each face-up monster, and Mage Power powering up the equipped monsters by 500 attack and defense for each spell you control. Other equipped cards used with Benkei include, but aren't limited to, Axe of Despair, which grants 1000 attack, Big Bang Shock, which gives 400 attack and piercing damage, and Fusion Sword Murasame Blade, which adds 800 attack and gives protection from card destruction effects. As a result of the attack gained and the multiple attacks, it's fairly easy to OTK your opponent with a copy of Benkei equipped with 4 to 5 cards. With supporting cards like Iron Blacksmith Kotetsu to add equipped spells from your deck to your hand, and Mystic Tomato to float into Benkei himself, it's fairly easy to build a deck around him. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Armed Samurai Benkei was used by Reginald Van Howell III in his duel against Chance Princeton, and Orlando in his duel against Jaden Yuki. In both episodes, Benkei is used to clear multiple monsters from the field in a single turn. In competitive play, Benkei OTK had 1 placement in May of 2005 Shonen Jump Houston, Texas event. In Master Duel, this deck saw play in the Extra Zero Festival, where no extra deck monsters were allowed. And in Yu-Gi-Oh! Online, it was actually banned because it was part of a starter deck and was causing new players to quit when they were getting OTK'd so quickly. Armed Samurai Benkei is fairly good, but limited in the ways that it can be played, meaning it can be countered fairly easy by other decks, and a simple Book of Moon or Raigeki break disrupts the OTK. While Giant Trunade, Heavy Storm, and Mystical Space Typhoon were commonly played to prevent this from happening, flip monsters like Night Assailant and Old Vindictive Magician still posed a threat. The next monster on our list is also a samurai, but one with a little bit more utility than Benkei. And at number 8, we have the Great Shogun Shien, a level 7 Fire Warrior monster with 2500 attack and 2400 defense. First released in 2007 Strike of Neos, and was most recently reprinted in 2012 Samurai Warlord Structure deck. Great Shogun Shien's effect is that he can be special summoned from your hand if you control at least 2 6 samurai monsters, and while it's on the field, your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap card a turn. Additionally, if Shien would be destroyed, you can destroy a 6 samurai monster you control instead. Normally, getting 2 monsters in the field in one turn would be tough, but not for 6 Samurai, which have a relatively easy special summon with Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai, who can be special summoned from your hand by controlling a 6 Samurai monster. This means with the normal summon of one of the original 6 Samurai monsters, and then the special summon of Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai, you can instantly summon Great Shogun Shien. Additionally, the deck also utilized 6 Samurai United, a continuous spell that adds a Bushido counter to itself when each 6 Samurai is summoned, maxing out at 2 counters. United could then be sent to the graveyard to draw cards equal to the number of counters that it had at the time, helping to keep the deck consistent. Great Shogun Shien can be cheated out using Monster Gate and Reasoning, both of which were unlimited at the time. Shien's Floodgate effect is devastating in most cases, with classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Lacking many monster starters or extenders that are present in the modern game. If you special summon Great Shogun Shien correctly, you have 2 monsters that can be destroyed in its place, forcing your opponent to rely on an alternative form of removal, such as a banishment or a monster steal. In competitive play, Shien was the boss monster for early 6 Samurai decks, as well as being a side deck option for DDT decks as well. What's DDT, you may ask? Well, it's a spoiler, so you'll just have to wait a bit. Unlike most older cards though, this card did see play in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, being played as a counter card in Pendulum Mirror matches. And at number 7, we have DD Survivor, a level 4 Dark Warrior with 1800 attack and 200 defense. First released in 2005, The Lost Millennium. Survivor was printed as a rare and an ultimate rare, which was its only foil until recently being reprinted as an ultra rare in the 2023 Speed Duel Tournament Pack 6. During the end phase, DD Survivor can special summon itself after being banished as long as it was banished while face up on the field that turn, and can only do so once per turn. Self-revival effects are really good, even in old Yu-Gi-Oh!, because the revived monster can be used for tribute summons. And between the powerful Monarch cards, Light and Darkness Dragon, Jinzo, and others, there was no shortage of good tribute monsters. The biggest issue with Survivor's revival effect was the whole while face up on the field caveat, a problem that would be solved with the release of 2006 Enemy of Justice set. 2 powerful cards would get their first release, both of which aided Survivor's quest of self-banishment. The first card, Dimensional Fissure, is a continuous spell card that forces any monster sent to the graveyard to be banished instead. And the second card, Macrocosmos, is a continuous trap that does the same thing as Dimensional Fissure, but for all cards instead of just monsters. With either continuous card in the field, DD Survivor could be freely tributed or destroyed for cost and guaranteed its return, leading it to see loads of competitive play from 2006 onwards. During the classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Era, Survivor would mostly be seen in decks themed around the Monarchs, Dark Armed Dragon, and banishment-based warriors. While Survivor was great with decks that could banish it, the next card in the list had decks based around it doing most of the banishing instead. And swiftly sliding into our number 6 spot is Strike Ninja, a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1200 defense. First released in 2004's Invasion of Chaos, Ninja's most recent reprint would come in 2024's Quarter Century Bonanza. Strike Ninja has a quick effect to banish 2 dark monsters from your graveyard to then banish itself until the end phase, with the resolution of the effect requiring Ninja to still be face up. While this effect is a hard once per turn now, during the classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Era it was a soft once per turn, allowing multiple copies of Strike Ninja to activate their effects in the same turn. When Ninja returns to the field at the end phase, it doesn't count as a special summon, allowing it to ignore many cards that prevent special summons. Ninja's effect can dodge most of your opponent's effects, allowing you to recover some field presence after potential board wipes, like Lightning Vortex or Mirror Force. More importantly though, Ninja continuously adds dark monsters to your banishment zone, allowing for a big dimension fusion or a return from the different dimension play. Strike Ninja was initially utilized in side decks, but quickly found a home in the Chaos Return decks of 2006, and continued to be used after the release of Dark Armed Dragon, which led to Dimension Fusion getting banned in May of 2008. And Return for the Dimension being limited on the same list. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Strike Ninja appears twice, but never as a card. Yugi uses Strike Ninja in his Dungeon Dice Monsters game with Duke Devlin. Ninja had the ability to move 3 squares for each movement crest, and the ability to dodge being the target of attacks, effects, or items for a turn. Strike Ninja's second appearance was as Duke Devlin's Deckmaster in the Virtual World arc. Ninja's Deckmaster ability was to discard 2 cards to activate a set spell or trap card on the field, if it was owned by the player who used the ability. And at number 5, we have Destiny Hero Malicious, a level 6 Dark Warrior monster with 800 attack and defense, first released in the 2007's Duelist Pact Aster Phoenix. Just like the previous card on our list, Malicious was most recently reprinted in the Quarter Century Bonanza. Destiny Hero Malicious' effect is that you can banish him from the grave to then summon another copy of him from the deck. An easy special summon from the deck is nothing to scoff at, providing a monster for tributing with. Similar to DD Survivor, Malicious can be used in Monarch decks easily. However, a major difference Malicious has in its favor is how easy it is to summon, with multiple ways to get it into the graveyard. Foolish Burial is a normal spell card which can send any monster from the deck to the grave, and was released in 2007's Rise of the Dragonlord structure deck. When Foolish released, it was unlimited for 4 months before getting semi-limited for the rest of the classic Yu-Gi-Oh era. Summoning Malicious was as simple as playing one of your 2 to 3 copies of Foolish Burial, and the crazy part is that this still wasn't the best way to get Malicious to the grave. Released alongside Malicious was Destiny Draw, a normal spell card which had the effect to discard 1 Destiny hero to draw 2 cards. Having your own in-archetype trade-in is great, but when Destiny Draw is used with Malicious, it's more like a pot of greed, allowing you to go +1 in card advantage because you can use Malicious's effect to gain a body on the field. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Destiny Hero Malicious was comboed with Destiny Draw by Aster Phoenix in his duel against the D. Aster then uses Malicious's Banish effect to summon a copy of it, which is used as one of the 3 tribute monsters for Destiny Hero Dogma's summoning condition. While Destiny Hero Malicious was good on release, he would get even better with the introduction of Synchro, Xyz, and Link monsters. Malicious would get caught in a vicious cycle being moved from unlimited to semi-limited and back again, with its current status being unlimited as of April of 2024's ban list. The next card on the list is another Destiny hero, but with a whole deck dedicated to them. And at number 4, we have Destiny Hero Diamond Dude, a level 4 Dark Warrior with 1400 attack and 1600 defense. This cool dude was first released in 2006 Enemy of Justice, and was most recently reprinted in 2023's Speed Duel Tournament Pack 5. Destiny Hero Diamond Dude can once per turn excavate the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal spell card, it gets sent to your graveyard. Otherwise, it gets placed on the bottom of your deck. During the main phase of your next turn, you can activate that spell card in your graveyard. This works regardless if Diamond Dude is still on the field. Now, this effect is obviously too slow for the modern game, but was amazing for the classic era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Milling cards to get through your deck a slight bit faster and still being able to play the milled card was such a nice effect, a deck was designed around it called Diamond Dude Turbo, or DDT for short. See, I told you we'd get back to it. To keep the deck efficient, there is usually a 3-to-1 ratio for spells to monsters, making it very likely to mill a normal spell. In DDT, a powerful normal spell like Reasoning and Monster Gator played at 3 copies, with Dark Magician of Chaos to add back Dimension Fusion, allowing you to revive multiple monsters from banishment for an OTK. How would they get the monsters banished though? Well, initially, a Gold Sarcophagus and Divine Sword Phoenix Blade were used to fill the banishment zone, but the process was ramped up once Phantom Darkness released in February 2008, adding Allure of Darkness and Dark Armed Dragon to the mix. This strategy is good, but its consistency leaves something to be desired. Destiny Hero Diamond Dude does a good job fixing some of those consistency issues, often giving you an additional spell to play on the following turn. Additionally, Diamond Dude can play around the deck killing Spell Counselor, since the spell sent by Diamond Dude activate in the grave, while Spell Counselor only negates spell effects on the field. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Aster Phoenix uses Destiny Hero Diamond Dude in multiple duels with some of the spells sent off of Diamond Dude's effect being Destiny Draw, Graceful Charity, and Pot of Greed. Talk about lucky hits. And the number 3 spot is Armageddon Knight, a level 4 Dark Warrior with 1400 attack and 1200 defense, and first released in 2008's Phantom Darkness. Knight's most recent reprint was in the Quarter Century Bonanza. What hasn't been reprinted in that set? Armageddon Knight's effect is that when it's summoned, you can send 1 dark monster from your deck to the graveyard. The Dark attribute has the most support of all attributes, and it has many of the best monsters in classic Yu-Gi-Oh!, giving Armageddon Knight the pick of the litter. Monsters like Dark Magician of Chaos, Jinzo, Sangian, and Snipe Hunter could be sent to the graveyard easily and then revived using Premature Burial or Monster Reborn, which was unbanned for a brief period of time, 1 month after Armageddon Knight's release. While that alone is good enough to earn Knight a spot on this list, its role in fueling Dark Armed Dragon's summon condition is where it truly shines. Dark Armed Dragon, or DAD as it's most commonly called, is a level 7 Dark Dragon with 2800 attack, 1000 defense, and was released in the same set as Armageddon Knight. DAD's effect is that it can't be normal summoned or set, it must be special summoned from your hand while you control exactly 3 dark monsters in your grave. Once on the field, DAD can banish 1 dark monster from your grave to target and destroy 1 card on the field. With 3 dark monsters in the grave already for a DAD summoning condition, you can destroy 3 targets right after it's summoned. Obviously, with that kind of raw power, any card that can facilitate DAD summoning is vital. making Armageddon Knight an easy choice. Additionally, Return from the Different Dimension was often played with Dad, meaning Knight could send the best targets to summon with Return after they were banished. Armageddon Knight's power would scale with time, as more dark monsters would release the effects that activated the graveyard. The next card on the list is actually a great target for Armageddon Knight to send. And at number 2, we have Destiny Hero Disc Commander, a level 1 Dark Warrior with 300 attack and defense. First released as a promotional card alongside Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2007 for the Nintendo DS, Disc Commander wouldn't receive a mass market release until 2011 with Legacy Collection 2, the Duel Academy Years Mega Pack. Destiny Hero Disc Commander's effect is that when it's summoned from the graveyard, you can draw 2 cards. A Pot of Greed in monster form is really good and honestly worth using as a draw engine in any deck that has enough space. When Disc Commander is combined with Destiny Draw, you can see how easy it is to quickly draw through your deck. With Destiny Draw netting you 2 cards by sending Disc Commander, who can then net you an additional 2 cards from his revival. Some of the obvious ways to revive Disc Commander from the grave is the commonly played Premature Burial and Call the Haunted, but there is also an in-archetype way to revive him in Destiny Hero Fearmonger. Another great thing about Disc Commander is that after you revive it from the grave, you can simply tribute it for a bigger monster, placing it back into the grave to be summoned again. Since the effect wasn't once per turn, if you could summon Disc Commander more than once, you could just draw more cards. If it wasn't obvious, it didn't take long for Konami to address how good Disc Commander was, by placing it on the limited list in September of 2007, where it stayed for a year before getting banned. Destiny Hero Disc Commander would remain banned for a decade before receiving a brutal errata that prevents Disc Commander from being special summoned from the graveyard in the same turn that it was sent there, and making its draw 2 effect once per duel. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Aster Phoenix used Destiny Hero Disc Commander in his duels against Satoris and Adrian Gecko. In both duels, Aster used Dr. D to special summon Disc Commander to draw 2 cards. So, normally a monster that lets you draw 2 cards would easily be the top spot of the list. But in this case, the top spot is dedicated to a card that really ties several strategies together. But before we move on to that, we have a few honorable mentions. Our first nod goes to Destiny Hero Fearmonger, a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1000 attack and defense that was first released in 2006 Power of the Duelist. Fearmonger has the effect that during your standby phase, if it was destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard any time since your last standby phase, you can target one Destiny hero, except Fearmonger, in your graveyard and special summon it. While that might sound a little confusing, just think of it as a turn-delayed Mystic Tomato that summons a monster from the grave instead, so it works perfectly with Disc Commander. Divine Sword Phoenix Blade is an equip spell released in 2005 Structure Deck Warrior's Triumph, and it can only be equipped to a warrior monster and grants it 300 attack. During the main phase, if Phoenix Blade is in the grave, you can banish 2 warrior monsters from the grave to return it to hand. The Banish 2 effect is used for Dimension Fusion or Return for the Different Dimension and DDT. For our final honorable mention, Dark Grepher is a level 4 Dark Warrior monster with 1700 attack and 1600 defense and released in 2008's Phantom Darkness. Grepher can be special summoned from hand by discarding a level 5 or higher Dark monster. While it's on the field, you can discard a Dark monster from hand to send another Dark monster from your deck to the grave. This effect is great for filling your grave for Dark Armed Dragon and is often played at one copy alongside multiple copies of Armageddon Knight. And the number 1 spot on our list goes to Elemental Hero Stratos, a level 4 Wind Warrior with 1800 attack and 300 defense. Stratos was first released as a 2007 promotional card in Shonen Jump Volume 5, Issue 4, and was most recently reprinted in where else but the Quarter Century Bonanza. Stratos has 2 effects you can choose from when it's normal or special summoned. The first effect is to destroy spells or traps equal to the number of hero monsters you control minus itself. The second effect is to add a hero monster from your deck to your hand. Stratos' first effect comes in a time where Mystical Space Typhoon was limited for its ability to destroy a single back row, something Stratos guarantees with another hero monster on the field. Unlike MST, Stratos could be searched with the reinforcements of the army or emergency call, allowing you to easily access a form of back row destruction. Stratos' second effect, to add a hero monster, worked on all Elemental and Destiny heroes at the time, making him vital for either deck. More importantly, Stratos acted like the glue that held together any deck wanting to use a small Destiny hero engine for consistency, as Stratos could easily search for Disc Commander, Malicious, or Diamond Dude depending on the deck. As a result of how good both effects were, Stratos was immediately put on the limited list, which didn't stop him from seeing play in most decks anyway. Eventually, Stratos would be banned in September of 2013, where he would stay for 5 years before being kicked back to 1 copy again. While Stratos is unlimited now, he continues to see play in all hero decks, truly earning his spot at the top of our list. Alright, and that's the list. If there are any other warriors or warrior supports you thought should have been on our list, or if you have ideas of your own, let us know down in the comments below.